Hey guys, today I am bringing you the second part to my Sapphire Summer Reading video that I put up I think like 4 weeks ago now, and this is my little reviews. I'm trying to keep this video under 5 minutes, so I'm not going to delay too much with talking beforehand, but I do have one thing to say, which is these are going to be short little reviews because, like I said, keeping it under 5 minutes. And I know a lot of you won't watch the end, so I'm going to go ahead and tell you right now that I have full reviews on my blog, which I'll link below. It's Remway Reviewer, and I have done, like a fairly decent length review of all of these books there. So if you want to check that out, that will be there. Before I jump in, I do have to preface this by saying I did not read all of the books that I checked out. There were a couple that I read a little and just didn't get that into, and because I had so many books, I didn't feel like it was a good use of my time to keep trying to truck through them. Usually I would, but because I had so many, I decided to go ahead and just read the other ones, and I never got around to going back to them. So let me know. The 3 books I did not get to were Breakfast at Tiffany's, True Colors, and Fledgling, which I'm going to put the book covers here because I've already returned them, so these 3. And if you like those books, please do let me know because I'll go back and get them some other time. But for now, I let them go. But yeah, I will review the other, 5 books that I did read real quickly for you, and I'm going to go ahead and rank them in order. But first I'll just go through each of them in order that I read them and kind of give you my quick thoughts. So let's go ahead and do it. The first book I read was Fallout by Ellen Hopkins. This is the 3rd in a trilogy of books, so I don't want to give away too much information, but most of it is kind of given on the cover, so if you pick it up, you're going to know this. But yeah, I do recommend, first off, reading the other 2 books. Actually, I will say, I think the other 2 books were better than this one. This one was definitely, it was a different take on it. It was in the perspective of Christina Snow, the meth addict, well, former meth addict, I suppose, although I guess you're always an addict, right? But it's in the perspective of her 3 children, and I do have to say that it's, yeah, like I said, not as interesting as the other 2 because it is not about the spiral into the meth. And also, I will say, it was a little confusing switching back and forth between the 3. It was a very good message to finish. Like, she had a little note that said she was trying to portray how if you become addicted to these drugs, it doesn't just affect you, it affects all the people who are close to you. So, I thought that was a very good message to share, and so I am glad she did that. I did kind of miss it being in Christina's perspective, but I do understand why she did it. So overall, I gave this book, in my mind, 4 stars, and I do think it's a good book, and I recommend picking it up. The next one is Valley of the Dolls by Jacqueline Susann, and actually I'd never heard of this book, but apparently it was like a classic book. Like, my mom had read it and watched the movie, which both came out in the 60s. And yeah, I really did like it. My overall thought is that it's kind of like a movie and a book. It was a book first, but the author was an actress, so she was very dramatically inclined, I assume. And yeah, so it was very interesting. And I really loved the story. Like, it was very much like you were reading a movie, if that makes sense. Like, it never felt as much like a book as it did like a movie. And I really did think it was quite a good page-turner, and I highly recommend it, although it was a little depressing for summer. One thing I will say is also it could drag at times because I thought the beginning was interesting, and then as it went on, some parts were a little bit like, I just kind of wanted to get to the end, you know what I mean? But overall, a really good book. I gave it 5 stars. The next book I read was What Happened to Goodbye by Sarah Dessen. I love Sarah Dessen's books. When I was younger, I read all of them, and then I'd missed the most recent 2, so I decided to read those. And she is a very good author, and it's a very solid story all around. She's very good at consistent plot and character development. It never really drags, and it never really is like throwing too much at you at once. It's just very good all across the book. I will say it's pretty predictable. Like, all her stories tend to be a bit more leaning towards like the Nicholas Sparks style, like happy ending. I do like her books better, by the way. But yeah, so it's kind of predictable what happens, but I still don't mind that much, and I really still do quite enjoy this book. And I gave it 4 stars again. Like Fallout, a solid story, not the best. Okay, the next one is The Virgin's, oh, I said that really weird. The Virgin Suicides by Jeffrey Eugenides, another one that's also a movie. I didn't like this book. I gotta say, I think I had high expectations for it and I just didn't like it. It was so depressing, and now obviously you kind of expect that with a book called The Virgin Suicides, but I thought it was even more depressing than I imagined. Like, it wasn't, the trailer for the movie, which I'd already seen the trailer, it kind of makes it look like it's a bit of a romper type style before they die. It's really not. It drags. There's really no uplifting moments, and it was a very unique storyline, because I always like to try to come up with a positive and a negative. The plot was very unique in the sense that I don't know of any other books with this plot line, but I did not like the way he had the narrative style. I'm kind of curious if the movie would be better, because I found the book to be very hard to keep my focus the way he had written it. So, didn't like this one, gave it like 2.5 stars. It's not terrible, but I don't recommend it. The last one I read was Impulse by Ellen Hopkins, and another Ellen Hopkins book. I love her books, and this one was my favorite book. I'll go ahead and say that I read this whole set. It was so good. Like, I flipped those pages so fast. Like, it's like 666 pages. Oh man. But anyway, yeah, I loved it. I flipped right through it. It's really dark but very real. Like, I felt like even though these characters were pretty dark, I could really relate to them throughout the book, and I definitely loved my favorite part of the book was definitely the character development. Like, you could see the growth in the characters quite easily, and I loved that, and there was definitely a lot of hope at the end, which is awesome. I actually don't have a negative for this one. I just said that I always try to come up with a positive and negative, but I really don't have a negative for this one. I loved it. 5 stars. Now, I'll go ahead and real quick give you my order of which ones I recommend the most, which ones I recommend the least, which you probably can kind of tell based on what I've said so far, but we'll do it anyway. Like I said, Impulse was my #1 pick. It is such a good book. I loved it so much. #2 for me is Valley of the Dolls. Again, really good. I actually thought Impulse was a little quicker to read, like a little more, grabbed my attention even more, but Valley of the Dolls, also very good. #3 is What Happened to Goodbye, a very solid story, not as interesting as Valley of the Dolls or Impulse, but still really good. #4 is Fallout. I didn't like this one as much as the other two. It was a pretty good book. Like, if you read the other two, I'd recommend reading this one, but if you didn't, obviously, I don't think you'd really care, to be honest with you. And lastly, The Virgin Suicides. Like I said, I don't really recommend this one. I wasn't a big fan. But yeah, that's all I have to say today. Once again, check out the full reviews if you want to know more about these books. Let me know below if you've read any of them, what you think and stuff. If you liked them, maybe I missed something. And also, if you liked any of the 3 books I passed on, let me know and I'll get them again, I guess. Yeah, that's about all I have to say. Hope you guys enjoyed this little set of my Sapphire Summer reading. I have another haul about to film, so let me know if you like this style so I can do it the same next time, or if you want something different for these reviews. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you all enjoyed. If you haven't subscribed already, go ahead and hit that button. I think it's down here. And also like this video to let me know that you like this series, because I really appreciate that, of course. Hope you all have a great day. I hope you all are reading some good books right now. Leave any recommendations below once again, and I'll talk to you all very soon. Bye!